Hi, everybody. It's Bex here, and I am so over the moon excited because today I have a very, very, very special guest. Today, I am wearing pink in honor. I dug through my drawers and I found pink for you. What do you want to be called? Is it John? Is it Halcyon?
I consider myself John and Halcyon. On professional things, I say John Halcyon Styn. When I'm in my wackiest of wacky moods, it's very hard to be John. Like if I'm dressed super crazy and I go, hello, my name is John, it just doesn't feel right. So that's why I got to have the Halcyon part and the John part. It's, you know.
Tell us what you do first, and then I'm going to tell you how I found you and why it's so magical and why I'm so excited that you're here today.
I host a podcast, a video podcast called Hug Nation that I've been doing for like 13 years. It's a weekly heart recalibration and reminders and lessons about how to be your highest self. I'm basically speaking to myself, and I just feel blessed that a lot of people show up and kind of we all recalibrate to who we are. I also do consulting for corporations and speaking about gratitude and gifting and how to integrate kind of wacky parts of festival culture, because I'm really active in Burning Man, and how to integrate these things that seem like fringe parts of life into our day-to-day.
That's so beautiful, because I have a really regular life. I'm a mom of 5. I live in the country in New Jersey. There is a country part of New Jersey. And I believe so emphatically that all these are this is the stuff of life. This is the stuff that we need to know about. We don't have this spiritual happiness, blissful foundation, then that's when everything gets really, really hard. And not that I don't deal with hard stuff, and I'm sure you do, and people do all over the place, but I think that there's a way to find bliss in any circumstance. And I found you, and you brought so much bliss into my life. I watched a viral video of yours where you were talking about a conversation that you had with your grandpa. And I won't spoil everything, but there was a line at the end talking a little bit about glass half empty, half full. And your grandpa offered that the glass is simply beautiful. And it touched my heart. It broke my heart open. And I've been repeating it all week long. And it changed my life. And it changed it in a way that it set me on a direction that now I'm able to explain a concept that's been so hard for me to explain to people for so long. I'm very wordy, and everything I say you'll find during this video. that you know, there's good, there's bad, there's perspective, but the glass is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Gosh, can you expand on that a little bit? Because I'm breathless.
I think that we get off track when you try to start seeing that the objective of life is to avoid struggle or avoid obstacles or avoid pain or suffering. I mean, life is this incredible journey of ups and downs. You know, if you had nothing but beach pina coladas, you'd want to go home after like 3 weeks. You know, the thing that makes life so incredible is embracing all of the struggles and just shifting your mind. So it's not like, oh no, here's this thing in my way. It's like, okay, here's the task at hand. Here's the task at hand. And then trying to be your highest self as you embrace those tasks. And I think that that kind of shift of seeing like, okay, is this a lesson? Is this an adventure? If it's a lesson or an adventure, then the whole thing is beautiful. And it's exactly what you signed up for.
So tell me this. I want some practical, personal practice stuff from you. Let's say the person is hungry, right? Like they don't have money, they don't have food to eat. In that instance, how is it that they explore these lessons with any kind of clarity when all this other stuff is getting in the way, like the real physical stuff that's happening?
Well, you just jump straight to graduate level stuff, because there's a category of struggles in life that are very visceral and real, like if you're cut and bleeding, if you are hungry, if you are cold, those are absolutely real. And I do not profess to say, oh, you can think your way out of actual physical pain. I do think you can talk yourself into and think yourself into a little less suffering. Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning is a book where he talks about going through the concentration camps and learning to, even in the most horrible conditions you can imagine, recognizing that you do have control over your thoughts. And so that I think that there is a possibility, even as you are feeling physical suffering, to not let it whip you into frenzy. Let's say your legs were just cut off. You are going to feel the pain of losing your legs. You do not have to feel the suffering of the story that now I can't walk again. I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to do this again. That being said, so if we can take a step back from graduate level, most of our pain, most of the people that are listening to this are not physically hungry. Most people are dealing with a thought problem. And we're just so trapped in our thoughts that being able to question the thought and reframe that, oh man, there's no parking here. There's no place that I could, this is my favorite restaurant. It's too full. We have to wait 30 minutes. We have to wait 30 minutes for the smoothie. You know, it's like, okay, you're suffering based on something that if you reframe that, you can go, oh my gosh, I'm waiting with someone I enjoy. It's a beautiful day. I have the resources and I'm close to the smoothie shop that makes my taste buds explode. So I think that's where you get into beautiful glass, is when you're actually, you're taking inventory of what sucks and then making that be what your story is about. And if you take a no. In fact, the fact that you had to wait is what makes you so excited that you found the smoothie shop. And the fact that you wait means that you were there when that guy rode by hula hooping on his skateboard, you know, and you saw that. And it's like, there is just changing the instinct, which unfortunately we humans have this instinct of focusing on what's negative. And it's not our fault, you know, like generations and generations ago when we were wandering through the woods, nobody lived an extra 20 years because they noticed all the pretty flowers, but they did notice when the bear was right behind him or the place that all the poison things are. And so we have this instinct to always notice the thing that suck. So we have to have a practice. We have to have little phrases like, it's a beautiful glass, to like, snap yourself out of this pattern that is so built into our biology.
So practice is the key word that I like to bring up to people all the time. And I think if you, I don't know, if you make it a metaphor for our physical health, and we all know, people who are watching me know that preventative care is really important. What we eat, how we move, all of these things help us from getting sick, help us from reaching a crisis mode with our health, but we don't recognize it as much with our emotional, spiritual, mental health. And the stuff that we're talking about today, having these phrases, having these tools to go to and to practice every single day when we're not in crisis mode, is what prepares us for that big day. I'm also a birth doula, and I talk about this with childbirth, and I talk about hypnobirthing and having a pain-free birth. I hate advertising that because there is a sensation that is very overwhelming that you go through when you have a baby, but it can be beautiful. And doing all that prep, that mindset stuff beforehand, prepares you for that crisis time when the baby's actually coming out, that you can deal with it with grace and with gratitude and with clarity and with ease. And it's the same thing with anything else in life. That's why these practices are important to, put into place now.
Amen.
Not when, you're homeless and you don't have anything to eat.
Practice is one of those massive words for me too. And while I won't publicly confess my last time I've been to a yoga class, the yoga practice, or the term practice, the concept of practice has been so significant. Like, you don't have third-degree yellow belt yogis, you just have people who practice. And I think that you're right, that taking that into our mental health is something that people don't think that that's how it works. I'm a huge fan of a lecturer, speaker, writer named Jacob Glass. And he one time just kind of called me out, or not me personally, but kind of like, a lot of you come here when you're to see me speak when you're struggling. But really, you should have a practice so that nothing knocks you off your grounding. And he used to say that, when you go to the gym and you work out and you work out and you work out, and suddenly you hit your 300-pound bench press, you don't go, sweet, I did it, now I'm healthy, and stop going to the gym. I mean, you have to continue to exercise and practice. And a spiritual practice or an emotional health practice is exactly the same thing, where every day you need to fight that biological need to look at the negative. Every day you need to have a gratitude practice. Every day you need to go, it's a beautiful glass. Otherwise, your peace will atrophy enough so that then you get, knocked down.
It's a muscle. It's like flexing a spiritual muscle.
Absolutely.
I teach yoga, I teach fitness, and we have to maintain that. We have to do the same with our spiritual health. And something that people can see. So you may want to or not want to admit when the last time you've been to a yoga class was. I can say that I haven't had a regular workout practice in 2 years. I went through a personal trauma and kind of quit the gym, and it's okay. Like, I'm still working through it, so I don't want to go back to the gym yet. But what people can see, and what I admire so much, is that you say you've been at this for 13 years. I just discovered you recently. Your practice of showing up in a way for people online and doing this podcasts and doing these videos and showing up on YouTube is such a beautiful expression of your commitment, I think, not only to other people, but to your personal practice. And that's something that people can witness. And I want everyone who's watching this right now to recognize that, because that takes, I mean, going online and nobody watching really sucks. and I'm sure you've done it because you had to do it and get through it for this to happen. And for me too. So practice isn't always going to feel good. You're not always going to go to the yoga class. You're not always going to sit in meditation and come out of it feeling enlightened or refreshed or energized. Sometimes you're going to come out of it maybe feeling even worse than when you went in. And that commitment to keep showing up for yourself is what's important, even when it doesn't feel good. So
quick little thing on that. So when I first started broadcasting with my grandfather, this was many years ago, and the internet was not so easy to use. Broadcasting was very difficult. We actually, our first ones, we had a streaming audio thing that was separate from a FTP uploading webcam, and so it was like way out of sync, and the internet would go down. I mean, we didn't have the broadband. It was so there was a lot of technical challenges, and there's a number of times when we set up to broadcast and things weren't working, and I was so frustrated. And my grandpa was just so like, hey, we're here. Let's just be here. And I look at these old, and I finally got it working, and I can see in these old videos, I can see my frustration. And I can see his peace, and I'm like, man, I get it now, but at the time I get it to a degree. I'm still learning, but there's actually that whole process kind of led to another one of these little like toolbox phrases that I use, which is direction, not distance. And that it's really easy to get caught up in thinking like, okay, how many people are watching? How many views did I get? How many people did I help? How many mouths did I feed? How many, whatever it is. And you go, and you start to get really caught up in the magnitude of the results. And it's the reason why when you see celebrities, they just spin out, because if you start to count things by numbers, you're going to get lost. But instead they think or say, okay, what direction am I facing? What direction is my next step in? When I sit here to broadcast, is my intention to speak my truth, to come from a place of love, to share these healthy thoughts and ideas? If that's my intention and that's what I'm doing, I'm taking a step in the right direction. And if that is heard by millions, perfect. Then that means everything's in alignment and the universe likes what I'm doing and I should keep going. If nobody hears it, I still took a step in the right direction, and I did it from integrity. And I think it also is a really good tool of making sure you stay in integrity, because when you start to try to measure the outcome and try to get yourself to where you think you should be, you kind of manipulate the now, you manipulate your message, you manipulate your truth. And and I mean, after 13 years, I can say with absolute confidence, which I have in very few things, but what I do have confidence in is that my mantra is be present, have integrity, align with love. And when I'm spinning out, if I do that, okay, just get present for a second, have integrity. And for me, that means speaking and acting in alignment with my values and what is my higher truth, which sometimes is easy to, sometimes that takes a little bit of work to figure out, wait, am I acting from guilt or pride, or is someone give me this message, or is this something that's true? And then align with love. Like, and if I do those things, then like this viral thing has been a real kick, and seeing all these people, being able to hear my grandpa and see this wacky pink-haired guy. But I had a chapter long ago where I was but pre-grandpa, I was really focused on, I wanted to be famous, and I wanted, and it wasn't a happy place. And I wasn't, I think, serving as I feel meant to do in the world, And I think that I see your presence online, and I see, there's different people that I see online. You even had something in your about, overhyped gurus or something like that. And I struggle with a lot of people that I see as being seen as guides and teachers who have such a crafted, like almost marketed sense of who they are and the right answers. And I'm like, that's not you. That is a packaged product that you are you, and not that you can't sell things and you shouldn't things, but
Sure.
what the gift that you have to give the world, the thing that you have that's going to heal is you, is your,
Yeah.
and if that resonates with 1 million people, awesome. That's your purpose. Like, and if that resonates with one person and that person connects to this, letting go of the outcome and just letting it ripple and trusting that is how it all works out. I mean, that's my faith. That's my belief system. That's it, all tied to my spirituality. And it allows me to feel joy and like success in every moment, because it's not attached to any outcome.
Related to that and impact, one of my favorite things that I ever learned in church, things that I heard in church was, you can count the seeds in an apple, but you can't count the apples in a seed. And I use that whenever I'm teaching people about getting their message out, and whether you're touching one person or 1 million. Of course, I want to touch 1 million people, but my friend Josh Becker called me out on that over the summer, right before my 37th birthday. And he said, "You sound a little desperate." And not in a bad way, but I was desperate for people to hear my message, for people to hear truth, to be connected with people who are doing good things. And that bio that you read on my site about overhyped gurus, that was also something that I was really connected to and kind of obsessed with, like wanting people to break free from information that wasn't good for them. And I have to let that go too. Like I have to go back and rewrite that, because I'm so attached to people getting the right information instead of just speaking my truth, having integrity, and allowing.
I got accused of being desperate because as this video went viral, my name's not on it and there's no link to me. And so I asked people that follow me, I'm like, hey, if you see it posted randomly, just tag me. And somebody was like, you sound pretty desperate. And I was like, and I sat with it for a while. First of all, I had to remind myself, don't spend any extra energy that you need on the haters, and then I was like, let me think about this. And I was like, well, I actually disagree. I understand that judgment, because I used to feel that way too, a little too meek to ask for attention. And I heard a Marie Forleo lecture where she was like basically it is a disservice to those that need to hear your message if you're not loud enough for them to find you. And so I'm trying to turn up, still being in integrity, still being in love, and allowing the volume to turn up. So like, hey, like with this video, like, hey, if you post that message from grandpa, turned your year around, I'm glad. If I had one thing to share in the world, that would be it. But I actually have a lot more to share, and I would love to tell you more stories. I would love to share more of grandpa. And so I'm trying to recognize that that doesn't have to come from ego. It can come from a place of service.
It absolutely is a place from service. And I'm the first person to say that I have really awesome things to share. And I'm really great at talking about my stuff. I want that to get out. I want that to get out. However, then detaching myself from how many people receive it. So it's like, I have this good thing, share it, share it, share it, share it, share it. I was caught up in the back end though, but I wanted to hit 100,000 views, or I wanted to hit 1 million views. And that's what I detached myself from. When I did that, lo and behold, everything blew up.
Of course.
As soon as I started speaking from this place where it's like, I know this is great information. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to yell it from the mountaintops because it is so wonderful. It saved my life, and I know it can heal you too. But if it's 5 or 500 or 5,000 or 5 million, whatever. And it became so easy, and I'm happy now, and I'm not like a stressed out ball of nerves.
Right.
And so it's awesome. And I get to meet you.
And I love that about the way that you share is the same, and I guess when I heard hyped up gurus, part of it is like, I respond when people say, here are the choices and the actions that I've done. Here's how it has helped me. I'm speaking from this experience of my joy, and I hope that inspires you, but if it doesn't, I hope you find your inspiration elsewhere. I just want you happier. And if this makes you happier, awesome. Whereas a lot of people, there's a different type of message, which is, I have the answer for you. Here's the answer, and it's like, really? If I've learned anything in my years, it's that it's all pretty confusing, and there's a lot of different paths that work. And so
there's a belief buffet. I saw that and I heard that and I'm like, yes. And I'm smiling so big because I knew what you were going to say. This is what worked for me. And I hope, and I'm offering it to you in service, and I hope it works for you. But if it doesn't, this is why I have John. This is why I have my friend Grace, or my friend Quentin, or my friend Mike, or my friend Rachel. I have all these people. That's what my platform is about. there's so much out there. Please take a little taste from everything. See what works for you.
I had this moment years ago when I discovered a book that called Pronoia, a beautiful book by a guy named Rob Bresney. And as I was reading, I was like, this is the book that I wanted to write, except it's better. And I was just really like, oh man, like what's the point? Why am I like, and I was kind of in this headspace of there's only room for one, like I need to do this. And I had forgotten that the whole purpose of trying to be this is because you just want to lift, you just want to do good. And I was not at direction, not distance. And I was like, and I finally had this experience where I talked to somebody who did not resonate with him at all, but was totally resonating with me. And I was like, oh, right. In fact, the same message needs to be said by many different messengers. Some people need to see a white-haired guy in a suit saying, love one another. Some people need to see somebody in a saffron robe with beads saying, love one another. Some people need to see it in a super fit mother saying, love one another. And some people need to see a pink-haired guy saying, love one another. And it's like, there's different people that are going to go, right. Oh my gosh, it all makes sense to me now. So there's room for everybody now. And so instead of seeing like, oh, I'm up, there's only room for me. Now I kind of have this visual of this big, huge raft and all of us, everybody who's a love warrior that has a channel, that has a friend, that is speaking their truth in any way we're all paddling together.
You keep saying the stuff that I want to say already, because I was just saying, like, the people in the real world, the people that I encounter are probably not going to be the same people that you encounter. However, what's so magical about the internet and why I love it so much, and I really believe it's like this gift from God, is that we do get to connect. And I do get to make this little tribe of people to bring to my people, because I have so much love for the work that you're doing and what you've done for me now already. Like, I just feel so changed by hearing that conversation that you had with your grandpa, and going down like the rabbit hole and finding him and seeing his old videos and what did you call him? The Baptist Buddha?
He called himself a Baptist Buddhist.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
He was actually, I mean, maybe a tangent, but I had my chapter in life where I was raised Christian and then became anti all religion, and then had this chapter with him where I got to see what someone who makes their life about following the teachings of Jesus can actually look like in the real world. Not someone who follows a church religiously, but someone who makes Jesus their first and foremost teacher. And like totally changed my view. I now have many friends who are very devout Christians, and we see eye to eye on so many things, because there's so many amazing teachers. Some of them look one way, some way look another way, and Jesus is one of them. My grandpa, by the end of his life, he actually called himself a Jesus man, because he thought the word Christian attached him to too many things that triggered people. So I'm still in this just constant state of gratitude for his impact.
Well, I'm in gratitude to him and to you, and for giving me this time today, and more for just giving this time to my audience, because I know that they are going to freak out, because they're going to love you so much, because they already do. Where do we find you? Tell me where to find you, and I'm going to have it at the bottom of the screen the whole time.
Hugnation.com, Facebook.com/John Styn, JOHNSTYN. I'm Instagram Halcyon Pink, and Periscope Halcyon Pink, which is HALCYONPINK.
Thanks for being so sweet and so normal.
Hey, you watch that.
I know you really are. I'm so shocked.
I'm truly honored. As I said, I'm just getting to know you and your presence and your gifts to the world, and I am so grateful for what you put out there. And I think that what you touched on is really beautiful, and that yes, we cross our people that we overlap with in our lives are probably not all the same. But look at how much overlap we have. And I think that if the internet is this tool that shows us how much more alike we are different, how much we're seeking the same things, I think it really it lets us all expand our hearts. And I'm grateful for the ability to connect with you.
Thank you so much. This won't be the last time I'll be knocking on your door again.
All right. So let's get started. I'm so excited, and I act really silly when I'm excited. So I'm going to try to bring it down like at least a half a notch. Alrighty.